U-bolts and prettied up suspension under there. That looks flawless. You can see our paint scheme underneath. Alright guys, what's going on? So I wanted to start off today's video kind of taking a little bit of a step back, reminding you guys why I do what I do. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on at the beginning of 2020 and 2021, so a little bit ridiculous. Regardless, I'm here as a little outlet so you guys can take a step back from the world and kind of focus on something a little more enjoyable. So in today's video, we're gonna go ahead and take the rest of the suspension out of my truck, getting it painted a custom color, which I can't wait to show you guys. I'm gonna get it installed back into the truck. This is like a $160, couple of kids in an old boarded up chicken coop spraying paint. Really cool video, so I can't wait to share this one with you. But if there's one thing that I can kind of recommend, and you can take this as you want, is in 2021, if there's one thing you want to try to change, is maybe kind of take a little bit of a break away from social media. And that might kind of sound counterproductive to me. There's a lot of things that are pushed on social media that just cause problems and arguments. And if there's anything I know about car guys, is there are a lot of times where you get mad or upset and see arguments, you just go out and work on your car. So if there's one thing you want to do more in 2021, get outside and work on your car. Just a little tip for you guys. We're trying to get the parking brake out. I know this is kind of a, can be a pain sometimes. There's a little clip right here. So what I've done, I can't remember who taught me this a while ago. You put a hose clamp, smaller one, up and over it and use an actual socket, which these are, I believe, 1/4 inch. Slip it over the end of it, go all the way to the edge, or almost, not quite all the way to the edge, but you know, enough to where you can have some room to pull it back out. Tighten this thing down onto these little teeth. It might take me a couple tries, so be patient. But once you get the hose clamp kind of in the right spot, you can wiggle this thing around and get it into the spot that you want. You pull it through just a little bit, loosen this, and then it comes right out. Way easier than trying to punch all these flat with a flathead screwdriver. All right, it's out. Yay! That was a little bit harder than I wanted it to be, but if you have a friend, you know, have them help you do it with another person. Don't do it by yourself. You don't have to. I unfortunately did not, and I need to get this done. Otherwise, you guys are gonna have a video tomorrow to watch, or today, or whenever you're watching this. But yeah, it's out. I have 2 leaf spring perches on it because we flipped the axle and welded new ones on the top. That's kind of why that's like that, but everything else is the same. This is back when 2018, when we lowered my truck. I had to notch it for the taller ring gear, or the larger ring gear, because I put 410s in it. So this thing had the 410s, which we'll put back in it. But I'm gonna kind of refurb everything. So I got to wire wheel and clean this whole thing up. It's never been painted, as you can probably tell. So we're gonna be painting this a custom color as well, with the coil springs and the leaf springs and the beams. But basically everything's all disassembled. So now you can see I have a bare frame with nothing in it. We're gonna be painting everything under here as well pretty soon. I'll take my shocks out and then just kind of go to work on getting everything in here all painted up. What's kind of funny, this thing actually isn't heavy at all. This thing's really light. You can lift this thing around with, you know, one hand. You could pick one of those up. But this thing is outrageously heavy, and the leaf springs are pretty heavy. There's the beams, those are cleaned up, so we're just gonna kind of get ready to pull everything out and paint it. You can see my axles are still in really great shape, which is good. Those are 31 spline axles for this thing. And there's our new disc brake spindle that's already been cleaned up and machined for these beams. And then here's our coil springs that we cut. You can see that's how I lowered it, and I cut them. I cut a coil and a half off is what I cut, I believe. So the disassembly portion is now finally done. Now I get to do a bunch of paint and prep work. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of wire wheel, degrease, and clean everything and get ready to shoot just a basic rattle can primer. But we actually went to Mesa Paint and got an actual like mixed spray gun paint. It's a metallic color. It's a super cool one. I can't wait to show it with you guys. So I'm gonna get all this stuff cleaned up and primered. I'll come back when we're showing you guys the paint and laying some paint on this thing out of a gun. It's gonna be pretty sweet. Alright, got this guy all cleaned up and prepped up. Yeah, pretty happy with how that came out. I actually DA'd the whole thing, so all the little scratches and burrs that were all over it are pretty much fixed now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some primer on this thing and get moving forward. Okay, finally making some headway on this thing. Marty's helping me get the rear end in it because we cut the leaf spring purchase off it because my other bushings were crooked. So I got new ones, which you can see in there, and we're gonna straighten it out. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see them. Nice new purchase, or yeah, leaf spring purchase in there, and we're gonna get everything nice and straight and centered so this thing doesn't crab walk at all. Because I had some bad bushings before that made this thing just like a 1/4 inch off, and it was just bugging the crap out of me. So. Got everything primered, leaf springs are painted. We're gonna reset the degree. So hopefully I stop killing U-joints. That's another thing, because I want to take like 2 degrees out of the rear end, like a little bit more parallel with the drive shaft. But I'm just gonna match the opposite angle of what the tranny's at. I think the trans is at 3.5. So I want to put the rear end at like 3 or so. And hopefully it doesn't kill U-joints. And anything, if I have issues, I'll just use an offset spacer that goes underneath the leaf pack. But yeah, we're gonna get this thing tacked up because my welder's not big enough. I'm gonna set the angle, tack it, take it down to Sean's, use this 220 welder, weld it, and then we're gonna get some paint mix and get this thing painted. Alright guys, so we're getting everything prepped for paint. I have everything primered already. So we're going to be painting the suspension of the truck a custom color with an actual spray gun. This cost us, you know, the primer's cheap. The paint and everything for the paint was like $160, I believe. All the reducers and the hardeners and all that stuff to actually run it in a spray gun. Sean already had the spray gun, so we're going to be spraying everything. Radius arms, beams, as well as my third member, or the rear axle sitting over here. As well as the new perches on it, so you can see those look a little bit better than the old ones that were on this thing. So now everything should work a lot better. Should be centered in the truck. I got new leaf spring bushings, a couple other things just to make it drive a little bit better. I also have a new disc brake spindle that we're going to be putting on these beams. 73 and 4 fit on the old style beams. We're going to get everything prepped. Everything's just kind of waiting, or it's kind of cold out. It's like It's a little bit chilly in California. It's like 65 out or something like that. Maybe getting down in the 50s here in a little while. It's a little chilly, man. I got a hoodie on. It's rough out here. But we got a paint booth we're making a little shed paint booth in Sean's backyard. We got some heaters in there, some ventilation, and then we have a tie down going from one end to the other to hang all this stuff. So it should work pretty well, but we should have a cool custom colored suspension under my truck, hopefully by the end of this video. Okay, so we're getting all the paint mixed up, and I'm assuming those are your little mixing
So this is a mix ratio of 4 to 1 to 1. So it's going to be 4 parts paint. This is the hardener and then the reducer. So it's going to be 4 parts paint, 1 part hardener, 1 part reducer.
Okay.
For the single stage acrylic enamel.
I see that color. Whoa, nice.
I'll stir it up here.
That is a cool color. Oh, it's darker. Oh, no, it's getting lighter. It's probably all at the bottom. That is cool. That has a lot of metallic in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have some baller suspension under this thing. At least I hope. We did Sean's. It's just some O'Reilly's like valve cover paint, I think is what that is. And we did a base silver over it and then put this on, and it actually came out pretty good. So we're gonna try another. I'm really big with like custom undercoatings.
Oh, dude, perfect pour.
I think it's going to go really good with the patina on your truck.
That was the whole goal, really, honestly. Alright, so here's a nice ghetto little paint booth. You can see we got some ventilation up there. We'll have a fan or whatever, but it's not like you're spraying the whole car. So, radius arms, beams hung on a tie down from there to there. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Please don't fall. You'll suck if you fall. Don't fall. And I got a rear end in front of a heater. So it's probably about 75 in here, roughly, I would say. It's not terribly cold, but you know, we gotta work with what we got. So everything's all cleaned up, ready to be shot. Sean's gonna pour it in the gun, get everything mixed up, and then I'm gonna film from outside so I don't ruin my camera, and hopefully this comes out all right. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to painting.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that color. Yeah, this color looks really good. Alright, so here's the color. I went to Mesa Paint in San Marcos, California and got this stuff. I believe it's a Mazda factory color. So that's the paint code if you need it. You can go ahead and screenshot that, send it to your local paint shop and they'll know what it is. But I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure, dang it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive that that is a Mazda factory paint color. It's very similar to what Adam LZ did in his roll cage. A lot of guys do engine bays in this color, so I figured I wanted something kind of copper, so that was the color I went with. And I got a little cross breeze. It's a little bit windy out, so it actually kind of comes through and then comes out the door. So we have a light little breeze kind of going through there, so it's ventilated pretty well actually. All right, so we had a bunch of paint left in the gun, so instead of just wasting it all, Sean had some spare ST wheels, and so now I got some custom wheels for sale if you guys have an ST in San Diego. Look at those bad dogs. We just threw them in here and Scotch-Brite them real quick and sprayed them. All right, let's check these things out. So, it's a little color reveal for you guys. Let's gonna look a little weird on camera. Try to get this shine in there as best I can. I'm gonna have to use a flashlight to really show you guys the metallic in this thing. It's very, I like it a lot. You can see the flake as it goes down. It's not gonna pick it up on camera as bad as, or as well as I want it to, but you get the picture. It's a pretty cool copper color. We sprayed Sean's spare wheels for absolutely no reason, but now he has bronze wheels, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of this stuff did come out really good for just some sealer primer and sanding them a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. They're definitely gonna look cool into the truck, which is what I'm going for. I just didn't want to do black. Black's really basic to me. But this rear end, I mean, you can see my reflection in the paint. It's not even gonna focus because it can't. There we go. Yeah, it's like glass smooth too. That's the other cool thing. It laid really, really nice. Sean did an amazing job. Sean's like a very talented painter. It's like one of his hidden talents we always joke about. But Sean can lay down some paint. Any imperfections you're seeing is actually the imperfections in the metal. It's not wavy at all. It just looks wavy. Like it looks wavy right there, but it's actually just the roof. But yeah, no, this thing came out killer.
Couple little spots, but
I think it looks good. Even the beams look great. Radius arms look great. So we're gonna get these things, let these cure overnight, come back in the sunlight, lay it all out in the sun, and see what this baby looks like.
hell yeah.
But
And then we ran out of, we just needed to waste paint, so we painted my old Focus wheels.
yeah, now they're gonna go on somebody else's Focus, and you'll have a custom set of wheels.
Bronze wheels.
Pretty fancy, huh? Hell yeah. Alright guys, here's our finished product out in the sunlight. Damn. These things came out absolutely phenomenal. Sean did an amazing job on these. Not sure, it kind of looks like orange on camera a little bit, but as you kind of walk around, you can, the closer you get, the more metallic you can see in these things. But it's like this copper brown, like bronze color basically, which is what I wanted. It's got a lot of flaking. You see how well the new perch is on. Those came out good. Here's the face of our rear ends, nice and sparkly. But even the beams look awesome. I mean, everything about this just came out just the way I wanted. The rear end's what I think sets everything off, just because there's so much more surface area on this paint. And even the radius arms themselves, I mean, that everything just came out amazing, you know. Just massive thank you to Sean. Shout out to Sean. Killer painter, you know. Does good work, for sure. And the great thing about all this is it didn't even cost me $200 to get them professionally painted in a chicken coop, which is what we were painting that in. A little shed, or a shed that was made out of an old chicken coop. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But we're gonna slowly start getting some of this stuff put in. I've got a couple things to do. We're gonna make sure we don't scratch this thing once we put it in. So I gotta put my leaf springs in, and then we're just gonna slowly kind of lift this thing over and just start installing everything bit by bit, and get it, hopefully put it in the truck, or at least set in the truck, all the pieces by today.
Back in?
That color, huh?
What's that?
Look at that color, huh?
So sick. There you go. Right there. You might need to lower it just a hair. There you go. I was gonna say you might need to lower it just a little bit.
here to here.
Let's see how these work, Noah. Here we go. Do a little burnout. See what you got. Wow, that thing's a pile of crap. Hell yeah. Driving it on the rim. Don't give a fuck.
He's gonna pull in the driveway, isn't he? Watch out.
Oh my god, my friends are fucking idiots. Where are you going? Oh, that poor rim.
Give me a light.
Wow. How did you manage that doing a burnout?
How do you blow a front doing a burnout?
That's pretty impressive.
I like it.
Nice one.
You-
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna have to rotate it.
Yep. And this is why we put the towel around it.
Just like that.
Grab that side. And then
Good.
it's going to drop right onto that in the middle. The camera recording right now, right?
Yeah, it is. Dude, that thing looks so good in this light.
No, look.
Oh my god, it looks so cool. Oh my goodness.
Let me climb up here and look at
during the
oh,
day though to do it justice.
Yeah. Well, the problem is during the day when it's in the shade, it looks like brown. Like you have to get some actual like good lighting on it to actually like show the color in that thing. But that looks amazing. It looks like a piece of candy underneath my truck.
Oh, hell yeah.
That looks awesome. So that was the whole goal, is like now I can kind of look under the back of my truck and just see this like badass looking rear end. So it almost looks orange on camera, which it doesn't look that orange on camera, but
It's definitely more of like a
it's copper.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a copper color.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to adjust this exposure. It looks more like, it's still too orange. It's more brown in person. But damn, that looks good. Same with the front end. Front end of this thing we got kind of mocked up pretty well, or at least it's partially in. Same thing. Man, that stuff looks so good. I'm so stoked the way this came out. And then the front. So sick. Hell yeah, I got a brand new motor in there, brand new suspension, nice new paint. Ah, stuff's sick. I'm so stoked the way this is coming out. I'm gonna come back in the daylight when we get this thing kind of finished up and buttoned up. Alright guys, I think we got just about everything fitted up and mocked up to where we can finally start putting like axles and brakes and little pieces here and there, finally putting the thing back on the ground. So we're gonna check this thing out, and I'm probably gonna close the video out here, but I can't get over how good this looks. So you got underneath the truck and you see all the nice U-bolts and prettied up suspension under there. That looks flawless. You can see our paint scheme underneath. It came out really good. That's just a touch-up paint work with the black. And everything kind of came out really good. I'm very, very happy with the way this looks. You can see our U-bolts are just nice and mocked up there. I got to put new axle seals in it when I put the axles in it. My third member is down at San Diego Gear and Axle getting rebuilt, and we'll be able to put that together real shortly. My new disc brake spindle is mocked up. This is the 71 beam with a 73 spindle, because 73 and 4 you can use on this beam. You cannot use a 75 to 79 spindle. They're different. The height is different right here, so that piece is bigger, but you can see it's all mocked up. Everything should fit. We're gonna have the kingpin kit here. We're gonna start putting it all together. We're gonna save that for another video. You can see the front end of this thing looks awesome. Suspension looks good. Paintwork looks good. You can kind of see as I go back, you know, minus me overspraying the crud out of my exhaust, everything looks pretty good. So happy with that. Radius arms look good as you kind of stick your head in there. And you see these nice pretty beams underneath the front of the truck. Just can't get any better than that. I'm stoked with the way this came out. And even in the front of the truck, it's gonna be hard for you guys to see, but there you go. Nice pretty suspension, looks good. So I'm stoked with that, but yeah, anyways, that was a ton of work. We put a lot of work into this video. Massive thank you to Sean for painting everything. Massive thank you to Marty for helping me prep everything. And I'm really stoked with the way this came out. So the next video, we're gonna be putting all the brakes and pieces on this thing, put it back on its own weight, and we're gonna start getting back on the engine. Because the reason I haven't kind of left you guys hanging on the engine, I was waiting on parts. One of those parts being that box right there, which if you can read the label on the box, you know what they are. And we're gonna save that for a future video. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video with my F100. Bye guys.